Okay, we should be live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of PersonaCast. We are currently on episode 5, and today we're going to be discussing the state of every character in the game. Today we're going to be starting off with Adachi, and with me we have Jordan. He's already daily on this cast, so he's going to be giving us the insight on this character mainly. Feel free to ask any questions about Adachi or our topics in the chat. We're going to be discussing a bunch of things like his viability, changes from the previous version, his matchups, and such like that. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Um, we can start off with, getting to know Jordan a little bit. We already know quite a bit of things about him, but Jordan, if there's anything else that you want the audience to know about, go ahead.
I guess there's not too much. I guess mainly to get an idea of where I'm coming from. I've been playing Adachi since since the game first released. And I've had quite a bit of like a plethora of experience with the character in general. Just I haven't really played any other character. I've been goofing around on Narukami for a couple weeks, but that's the first time that I've put effort at all into a different character. So I've played a lot of Adachi across both versions in a lot of different environments. Fighting Japan a lot, I think, is what contributed to getting better with him. But you know, just playing offline, playing different versions, playing and just kind of grinding with the character in the past couple years and a little bit like 8 years ago, but yeah. But I'm excited to be able to talk about the character. I would say I think I'm gonna be outing myself a little bit today because I think some people don't know some of the counterplay to Adachi, and I'll be talking about that too when we get into more specifics in the character. But there's a lot of simple things that I see that people don't do that I think by now is sort of common knowledge, depending on your skill level. But you know, but yeah, if you want to lead off with any questions or where you want to start,
Yeah,
feel
so I
free.
think I think the first thing we should talk about, right, is that for every character in the game, most of them drastically changed from 1.1 coming into the new 2.0 release of the game, right? So, what were the major changes that you say that affected Adachi coming from 1.1 to
So
2.0?
everyone knows the big three. There's three major changes that Adachi had that kind of changed him as a character, or at least three major quote nerfs. Or I would say they're all nerfs. There's a few other changes that I think were buffs, or I think that makes him more fun to play. But the three big ones are JC not causing a sliding knockdown on air hit. That was really good, and uh, I think it would help to have that back in the current meta. But I don't think it's as good as number two, which is SB Atom Smasher being the best reversal in the game. Um, you know, his worst matchups right now, if he had, if he had it in general, it'd be really good. But I'd say the biggest thing he struggles with is his anti-zoning, and I think it'd be really nice to have that back. But does anyone remember what the startup on that was?
7 frames.
1.1? 7 frames. Okay.
It was like,
It was really fast, and it was really plus. It was almost impossible to even react to it. I don't think it was possible. It was not possible, but um,
would have been actually
basically,
faster.
if he had 75 meter, if you did anything anywhere on the screen, you were gonna get hit if you used it. So you just had to. That'd be really helpful right now with certain characters that are dominating. But third one was rage resets, obviously, or rage on heat riser. Or well, there were a few ailment changes, like we don't have silence as much anymore. Um, only off Mandala. Uh, but silence and rage were the biggest ones because silence made some of his combos unburstable, and rage resets. I would say rage resets aren't even. They wouldn't be the most desired thing for me for it to come back because in the current meta, like, and this contributes a lot to Adachi's weakness in the current version, is that he doesn't get Mandala. He doesn't even get a chance to use it because most of the cast kills you before. Like, Awakening is easy to play around. Like, that's the thing, is like Adachi's greatest strength is locked behind Awakening, and that's something that like you can universally play around no matter what your character is. Like, you can drop your combo early to kind of leave him outside of Awakening, and then he kind of has to decide if he wants to burst. So, and it's even, the best option some of the time to just burst and try and get Mandala to take back the game, but sometimes that just ends up you get hit again and then you're dead anyway. So, I personally wouldn't care very much about getting Rage back or Mandala in general. I think the other two major changes were the best ones that we had. Um, but some of my other favorite changes are probably the stance cancel. I think it makes being able to stance cancel out of almost anything makes his pressure a little less linear, makes him more exciting, I guess. Um, I think they nerfed his grab, if I remember correctly. I think SP grab used to be faster. Um, uh,
That's still not,
dou-
yeah, not
double
not a
gunshot.
huge change. Still, that's just
Yeah,
one.
that and then double gunshot. You could not cancel one gunshot into another
Yeah, they
before.
completely reworked that move. And how
Yeah.
would you say that? Like, obviously, I feel like the negatives kind of outweighed the positive changes that came from Adachi. I'm like, that's what I feel like, because I feel like they're grounding.
He was nerfed
Yeah.
overall. Like, he lost a lot of really strong tools overall. I think
Hmm.
his pressure is better now. His pressure before really was very not good. But I think overall, like, SB Atom Smasher was broken as fuck. JC Slide was really, really good. I think like against Yukari now, obviously SB Smasher would be better against her, but I think JC Slide would also make it a little more easier because you would not only get damage when you actually swat her out of the air, but you'd get a knockdown. Because right now it's like you get a soft knockdown and then you got to deal with her DP and like it's like not the best. But then on top of like the rage resets and the unburstable routes, like he did get nerfed. Like, I think almost the changes I can't say they balanced out, but
I
they
don't think they did.
they
No,
didn't. They didn't. But
I think,
overall I'd say he's more fun to play.
yeah, for sure. I think that's most of the characters in this game. Even they feel better to play. They feel a little bit more kind of complete, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
characters in this game where like they had some moves in 1.1 that's like you don't even like bother to use it in that version. Now it's like I feel like you're using most of the toolkit for your character now.
Mhm.
It's not so linear because like I feel like with the Dachi in like 1.1, right? You're fishing for those like nice persona normals hits and then you get like 4K as a result.
Right.
Well, if I'm also correct with Awakening, you mentioned like Mandala being one of his strongest moves. If I'm correct, wasn't it also easier in general to get Mandala in 1.1 because like his DP
Took away more
took
health.
Yeah, it took way more health, like double
So
it
not
does
only
now.
did it take away more health, it had wall bounce, which I forgot to mention.
Oh,
Which
you
is
get a
kind of
fear
nice
off that. I
sometimes.
forgot
Yeah, you
about.
get a free setup off that. But it did take away more health. Yeah, in general, it's just like there was less damage in 1.1. And like now it's with a lot of characters, it's a two-touch game and a lot of unburstable combos. And like if we're rating Adachi's strength overall, we're looking at Mandala. It's like that's his broken shit. Like every character has their like broken thing that's like really good. Like you want it, you want to have it, you want to use it. Adachi, that's JC and Mandala, and he can't really use Mandala a lot nowadays. I think not as much as he could before.
For sure, the meta definitely has changed now, right? Because you're looking at shadow
Shadows.
characters completely invalidating that, and it's like 1.1.
Mhm.
You didn't really have to worry about that because someone puts you in awakening, you burst out. Okay, now you're in awakening, and all you need is like a DP mandala if you want to get into it, or any other combo. And then if you have 50 meter, which you probably gained from getting an awakening, it's like
Mhm.
now you get put into a rage reset and you lost the game.
Yeah, right. Definitely think he was a stronger character 1.1. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah,
there's
for sure.
like
Way more
just
volatile.
he had more going for him in general. Like JC Slide doesn't sound like a huge change, but it is. It's a huge change. Like you have no idea how often I get air hit JCs. And in this version of the game, that's not really a big deal. You don't get anything, you don't really get any damage off of it. You basically just denied your opponent when you get a hit like that, at least at certain ranges. Or at
So
least if it hit in the air.
yeah, to put it in perspective, it's specifically off counter hit, air hit, JC,
Mhm.
right? And when you get that, and 1.1, that's 4K gone right there.
Mhm.
And 2.0, you get that counter hit, they just go for ground tech immediately. There's no sliding hitbox. It's like the Shabris 5C change, right? Similar, where it's like instead of the sliding 5C from Shab in 1.1, she gets the wall bounce from it. So things like that, because that was like led to insanely plus Oki situations, and it just led to insane corner carry. Because you can be mid screen with that Adachi JC, you get hit by that. I tried to air, oh, you're dead, bro. 4K now
Yeah.
possibly leads into
Yeah.
another snowball situation to a reset or a safe jump.
It was so I miss it so much. Like if there's one change overall that would be good to have back, I think JC Slide would even trump SB Smasher in terms of power because it doesn't require a resource obviously. Um, but Claw asked how Adachi's matchup spread looks compared to 1.1. I can't really say for certain because I don't remember what his matchup spread was back then. Well, he lost to Narukami, he lost to Margaret, and those were like the two most common characters. He lost to Minazuki. That's I don't think his matchup spread has changed a ton. You know, obviously he loses the shadow characters, which were like irrelevant in the previous version, for the most part. Um, but if you wanna, I'd say to categorize like what Adachi struggles with the most. I'm not a huge fan of matchup charts because of that. But like I think any character that's not pumping out a ton of damage, so for example Teddy, and we've had debates about this in the past, but the reason that I think Japan thinks that Teddy is an easy matchup for Adachi is because Teddy doesn't do a lot of damage. So he gets to, well, not only that, but JC 5C is really good for dealing with items and dealing with Teddy in general. But um, Teddy doesn't do a lot of damage on top of Heat Riser, reducing his damage even more, meaning Adachi gets more chances to rob you, essentially. So Rise is another one. Although I think a huge struggle for Adachi is zoning of any kind, because he can't. He has J2D, or I guess 2D in general, in 5D or JD, and they are both very slow and easy to deal with in general for most characters. So besides ideas like what gunshot, which I mean, you think of characters like Yukari, she's not even on the ground most of the time, and Atom Smasher cost meter in general, which Adachi, he's constantly starving for meter because he needs meter to do anything really. Unless it's like so Adachi gets decent damage off. Uh, like any character, he gets good damage off like a good counter hit confirm. But I think another one of his biggest weaknesses, not very good at stray hit confirms. He's not getting damage of a random hit on screen and converting it into a lot of damage like I think certain characters can. Or they can convert it into something significant. I think Adachi struggles with that the most
I
out of
mean,
like a lot of the cast.
yeah, because they kind of base it off like Blazer to extend, right? It's like mid screen, you're not getting a bunch of damage, but in the corner, once you push them there, then you're really opening it up. The
Right.
only time it doesn't apply is to the top tiers, and that's what makes them like really good, right? So you look at
Right.
Yukari and Ken, like those characters can pump out consistent damage plus corner carry, and like really good Oki. So they can kind of
And off
ignore
some
that role.
random ass fucking like you look at Yukari. Like off some random I have seen the most ridiculous confirms with that character. Like I got clipped like full screen by some arrow doing fucking freshman geometry on the screen into like 5k into a 50-50. Like and then Adachi's like he's got to put himself into some risky scenarios to get the damage and the
Reward.
knockdown reward that he wants, that you want. And it doesn't help that his combo routes kind of suck. Like they're very linear. Like it's not that Adachi can't do damage, it's that he requires some very specific scenarios to happen to get the damage. That some characters can get a little easier, I would say.
I think
Like, go ahead.
I think it's kind of crazy to think about because for some characters it's like, okay, for example, we'll go with like Narukami, right? He does his most infamous button is like J2B, right? He hits you with that, he gets a full combo off it, counter hit, air counter hit, whatever. And like that's a bunch of damage, more or less. Adachi is
Yeah,
like his main button in neutral is using JC. And like back to the point of like a JC ground slide removed, he's using that button a lot in neutral, and sure that'll do a bit of damage, but like he's not getting anything off it. Like even if it's an oppressive button, right? Adachi's not really he's not really being a threat, right?
right, right. And I think what I've noticed the most is that people who do well against Adachi are patient players because all you really gotta do is block. Like he doesn't like, especially if you're good at IBing, like a lot of like just like say I throw out JC at max range and you IB it, like I'm not plus when I hit the ground. It's your turn. And like especially him not really having very good mix, and this is especially offline. um his only overhead really is his DP, which is 23 frames. And if we're saying A Lion is, I personally I've experienced this. I think like Lion, Adachi DP, all out attack, it's pretty reactable offline, and you're not getting some of the same cheeky mix-ups when you're playing offline with him, in my opinion. Which weakens him a little bit because he doesn't. I think a lot of characters in this game have some way of opening you up if they spend the right resources and do the right like for example, so Naoto has Double Fang's OMC, uh like Narukami has Lion OMC or SB Lion, which is not the most reactable even offline. Liz has like 2B OMC JA. I get hit by that a lot. Mitsuru has instant overhead, which I don't know how reactable that is.
Fake
I
news.
heard
Fake news.
I heard it's 23 frames, which would put it the same degree with Adachi. So I'm not exactly sure, but that's a whole different conversation with her risk reward. But like, I think a lot of characters can like Risei, Labris, like even those like weaker characters have like some ridiculous mix that you can do off OMC. I think when I was watching MDM play like yesterday, and I think Marie's OMC mix is some of the weakest. What do you think?
It's not. I just don't do it. It's really not. I just don't go for it. I
It
just like to
just
take the
seems
meter
like
look.
it's easier to block than a lot of like Labris's OMC mix. I think that's really hard to do or really hard to block. When I watch Marie's and when I've personally experienced it, it just doesn't seem
And
that
it's also like
scary.
it's not worth it. You can just spend meter on other things as well, right?
Right,
Like
right.
you could do 5 AA and then go into OMC overhead or low, right? Like it's pretty cheeky, right? I just don't do it because I have better things to like spend my resources on. But yes, so she
So
does have some sort of mix that she has, yeah.
yeah, Mitsuru, it says Mitsuru JB instant overhead 16 frames. Yeah, that's pretty rough. So I'm getting some questions about Shadow Labris. So ironically, a lot of people are surprised to hear about this, but Shabris is one of Adachi's best matchups. He wins that matchup, and for a couple reasons. Obviously, he breaks the bull
Let me
super
see if I, let
easily,
me see if I can
but
find some footage on that. Actually, do you have footage versus BB on your channel for that, Jordan?
I don't know if I do.
Let me double check
I don't.
so I can
I don't
display
know
it
if
for
I've
people to
streamed.
watch.
I don't know if I've streamed against him.
I'll take a look for it. You can describe it. Also,
Yeah.
everyone in chat, if you all want me to, I forgot to put on the Persona music. If you all want me to play that faintly in the background, just let me know. I'll put it on right now. You guys want to listen to that?
So, yeah. So not only does he break the bull by pressing almost any button, and I think his pressure kind of, uh, it helps against bull because, like, say you whiff 5C against Shabris in the corner, you get a little more leeway when when you hit the bulls like hitbox, to cancel into other things to kind of make you safe, even if you whiffed her, which helps, just as an example. But now you got the bull, but you also got the fact that Shabris is one of the few characters in the game that Adachi's actually going to two touch based like in the right scenarios, and it's always in the right scenarios. But like with Adachi against her health, like she's almost always gonna die if you get like two combos on her. And you can't say the same against a lot of other characters in the game. Like she just dies so easily to him, and just on top of like being able to deal with the bulls so easily, um he actually does have somewhat of an easy time dealing with Shabris. I don't think it's even. I think he wins to some extent. I can't tell you. I don't like doing the whole numeric matchups, but um so yeah, I would say his best matchups are like Shabris, Kanji, Teddy, um but he struggles to some extent even against all those characters just because his like defense is extremely poor. So even if we think about like Adachi Kanji is a common matchup I hear about. He doesn't Like Kanji loses in neutral 99% of the time. Kanji only wins when he makes Adachi block and like he gets in because Adachi doesn't deal with RPS very well. Because like here's something that's not I don't think is commonly known. Adachi's super cancel options off DP are terrible. Basically if you block the first hit, you either have to immediately go into Heat Riser, Mandala, or Atom Smasher. Or not immediately, but like... Say you cancel with B Heat Riser, like immediately. As soon as the hit connects, and they block it. So... If you use B Heat Riser right away... like, I think pretty much everybody in the cast can instant block the hit and get a punish. Pretty much everybody, I think. It might depend on distance, but like, you know, obviously like characters like Mitsuru aren't worried about it. With SB Ken, Minazaki, you know, characters like that. But if he delays the super cancel at all, like even for Kanji, and where Tear will do this, if I delay the super cancel at all, free D grab. Like I'm getting punished for it. Like it's not. I don't think Adachi has the best defensive options, because you know obviously he needs the meter to kill, like to do any damage. So either you use guard cancel, you risk it with the DP, or you try to jump out, which loses in some instances the RPS. So it's kind of tough, even against some of the weaker characters in the game, like even Risei, for example. I find it difficult to play defense against her just because a lot of her pressure strings revolve around like JB and using notes. And if Adachi DPs against a jumping opponent, he's dead. He got hit. But yeah, Adachi does not fare well against any opponent, and also his DP is OSable for anybody that doesn't know.
Yep. If you have a fast recovery move, you can recover it before you can throws out the DP in time.
Well, also hit stop OS.
Oh, that too.
You cannot. Especially so Minazaki is a character that uses it well. Is 5 like Shita. I can't DP against that guy. He's gonna mash 5A and he's gonna mash roll, and if 5A doesn't connect, then roll comes out. I'm not sure on the specifics, but a lot of characters can do stuff like that. They can do like 5A whiff, and they can just hold back. I'm pretty sure. NVM, how fast is Liz's DP? What's the startup?
Liz DP, that's like it's pretty slow. I think it's like 24 frames. Yeah, 24 frame startup.
Okay, so it's a frame faster than Liz DP, although I'd say Liz DP does benefit a little bit from it being a grab in specific, like the distance it goes and it being a grab, I think causes some favorable scenarios, some not. I think they're both very niche DPs in general. But Adachi's Abare kind of not great. He doesn't have a whole lot of mashing tools. I don't know, NVM. Your one of your character's defenses is also pretty bad. What do you think, like Liz defense compares to Adachi's defense in your experience?
I was about to ask, like, Adachi doesn't really have any like mashable buttons he can use on defense, right? Like, so I know, for
No.
example, Liz can like 2B out, and that like
So
OS is a lot.
yes, 2B on Liz is a really good example of like not the best Tamari button in the game, but in certain examples it's like really really strong. Like for example, like when I'm pressuring as Adachi, for instance, I'm literally just watching for two things: 2B and DP. Like Adachi can't run a lot of his like jump cancel like pressure because of Liz 2B. Like if you 2B jump cancel, for example, it's like it's pretty easy just to kind of mash 2B on that. And it'll hit J2D, it'll hit JC, it hits a pretty good distance too. But Adachi's 5A I feel just isn't like it's 6 frames. Like it's better than some 5As in the game, but I don't think it covers enough ground to be as strong.
It has like a lot of range. It has like, well, a decent.
I think
range,
its
right?
vertical hitbox is better than its horizontal hitbox.
100%, right?
And I think that's where the horizontal parts where we lack. Like 5B covers that, but it's 7 frames. And so like the DP covers that, but of course also slow. I think in general, Adachi's just kind of drowning in defense, and his offense, like his stagger game's pretty good, but I think it lacks in some areas. Primarily the reward you get, like, okay, so I've noticed one thing with like the two strongest Adachis in my opinion. They both play a little differently. Nekose plays like, you know, punish a sleeping opponent. Like he wants to get the big read. Bashiri plays tick throw. He'll like only really use SB command grab. He won't use command grab like normally. And he does a lot of 5A 2A throw. He loves to do that. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Kind of like Yosuke, but with Adachi.
Yeah.
But Nekose, like, I think it really displays like the kind of spectrum Adachi lives on. And I've kind of crafted a title for him. I think he's the king of mid. I think he's really good at being mid. Like, he's not a bad character. He's not a great character. He's like a good character. But he doesn't excel in a lot of areas like some other characters do in some ways, in my opinion.
See if we can bridge it off to like the next kind of topic. Actually, MBM, you can go ahead. Actually,
I was about to like talk about his offense for a bit, real quick, because you think about Adachi offense. I don't think a lot of people like know this off rip, but he does, for example, like 5A, 2A, right? For like a example is like 5A, 2A, maybe 5B occasionally, and then 5C gunshot, right? Like double gunshot, and then try to pressure reset there.
Uh-huh.
And so, for example, if you instant block the gunshots, you can just challenge him immediately, or like even punish him for like trying to do like 5C again.
Yep.
And most of the time, he can't do anything other than 5C, because when he's doing gunshot, you're out of range for him to do 5A. You're out of range for him to do 5B.
Mm-hmm.
And if he wants to do, for example, if he wants to not do gunshot, he wants to do sweep, well, sweep is really slow.
Fake as fuck.
It always leaves a gap. And like that doesn't say sweep does give Adachi a bunch of damage, but that sweep is slow. That sweep is 19 frames.
Yeah, it's very slow. And like, I think some people disagree with Adachi being called the trickster character, but I think it's 100% accurate because your game plan revolves around getting your opponent to press a button. Because he's a mid monster. He's a total mid monster. Like he's playing strike throw 100%, and like strike throw, it's a weird, because like his command grabs aren't as potent, I would say, as like Kanji's, for example. Like Kanji's, like he's a true grappler. Like Adachi's like a pseudo grappler. Like his command grab, like he's getting a lot less reward off of it, and he's getting a lot less like it's obviously not as. I'm having a hard time comparing the two grab because they're like they do different things, you know.
They do kind of different things for the characters. So you're talking about like Banazaki, right?
Right.
Or,
Minazuki, Kanji, like. Go ahead.
Here's what I think of when I think of like Adachi DP, right? That's like a grab that I'm only concerned about if I'm either like really low health or if I'm mashing.
Right.
Because it's a fatal counter starter, right? So
right, because if Adachi grabs you normally, what like he could spend 50 meter and get like 2.6k, something like that.
Yeah, like he has to spend meter to actually convert off of that in order for it to be like a real threat.
To do damage, right?
To do damage, yeah.
A lot of Adachi's threat comes from you being impatient, ironically. Like I don't think Adachi's is one of those characters you can really just block out. And you just can kind of choose a moment for it, like a lot more easily than some other characters to mash out like a DP. Or like cuz there's telltales to like when Adachi wants to go for a grab. Like he is staggering you, but he has to kind of get close to you, or at least if you're not in the corner, at least he kind of has to make some sort of movement to get close to you to grab you, which is a little more easier to deal with than like an OMC mix-up of whatever kind, or like, you know, Ken mix or whatever. I actually have to use the bathroom if you guys want to talk for a second.
Take your time. Okay. Man, it just drops. All right. But no, if I want to think about like Adachi, right, as a character, I think his command. Well, the one good thing about all of his grabs in general is that they give him a lot of meter. I think one of the changes from 1.1 to 2.0 that I'm looking at the dust loop right now is that like his grab now gives him meter. Spirit. Let me see the exact number. Let me see. Gained, 17 meters. Steadily grows while Adachi laughs. That's an insane amount of meter for just like a grab, a regular, normal grab. And it's kind of good for Adachi since he's so meter hungry because he wants that meter. Yeah, because he needs it to go into like.
He needs it for everything, bro. Defense, like supers. He needs SB moves. Like this is a very meter hungry character, and it's like the problem I see with him, right, is like, okay, you can use your meter offense to kill him, right? To inflict any kind of status elements or get some damage on the table, get heat riser, right? But when you don't have any meter when you're blocking, it's like, what am I gonna do here? I don't really have the best mashing buttons. DP is not the greatest in the world because it can be easily OS'd. Like, now you're gambling on like spending 50 meter for guard cancel roll, etc.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
It's stressful playing defense as Adachi. And I just want to add, because this is something I see entirely too often, I think it's time to let the world know. These land cancel combos are not burst safe. You keep bursting at the wrong goddamn time. And it's time for you to stop. Listen, I've been taking free wins for this for too long. Don't burst when he does instant air dash JB. Burst after he hits the JB. For the love of God. Stop bursting the instant air dash. Like it's not burst safe.
Insider tech from Jordan.
Like I have avoided like revealing that to the public. I've been waiting for people to just figure it out because some people know, some people don't, but it's time. Time for you to know how to burst that. But like, as defense, pretty fucking like I think Adachi's super cancel options are really good for self awakening. I think he's really good at self awakening. I think his super cancel options for defense is an RPS of it in of itself. Like because for example, so when I fight Waffles, he does the block the first hit of DP, hop JC does not beat me if I have 50 meter. Because I can super cancel and hit you. If you just let, and this is another thing, just for the kanji players out there, if you block the first hit, it's already your turn. As long as you wait and react, because either you get the punish, or I try to trick you into pressing a button. And this is what I think is the hardest part about Adachi. Like, I think Adachi excels at. I think as a scrub killer at lower levels, I think he's extremely hard to perform with at a high level, especially against a lot of popular characters right now, like Yukari.
All right. I think it's a good segue because, like, we can talk about communication with Japan later, but we can talk about like how viable Adachi is in a tournament setting, right? Considering you've been playing with him in 1.1 tournaments as well, and now 2.0 tournaments. Like, what is his viability in a tournament setting?
My experience, I have only my tournament experience in the last 2 years kind of sucked. Because I only ever lose to Aigis, Naoto, or Yukari most of the time. Unless I'm having like a really bad day. Most of the time I'm losing to those characters over and over again. And like even offline, like except for maybe like like CEO Otaku I lost to Thunlunk, for example. It was one of the most frustrating losses I've ever had because he was at a pixel health. Like my combo was just unoptimized to not kill him. And I got hit by Magarula 3 times. Unblockable twice. And I had resources that I could spend, but I simply could not spend them because of the situation. And like, I think those matchups are just hard enough that his tournament viability can be extremely affected by the characters that are in the bracket. Because those characters are hard enough to deal with that just a little bit of bad luck could end your entire run. And I think, however, I do think that Adachi does do pretty good in a short set setting. Like first to 2, first to 3. Like in a longer set, I think Adachi is a little weaker. But I think he does pretty good in tournaments. Like in terms of like how many games you're running against your opponent. I don't think he's gonna struggle as much as Kanji, for example. But I have noticed some weaker characters have some pretty good tools. NBM, Marie. I'm pretty jealous of Evil Eye. Like Adachi has no way. Like when a character just runs away, that's like Adachi's kryptonite. Like what is he gonna do when you're running away? Like Yosuke when he's running away, you can't catch him. He's throwing projectiles. You can't do anything about it. Naoto, Yukari, like Marie at least has has anti-zoning tools. So like in your experience, how do you fare against the top tiers?
I want to kill myself. Wait, can I say that on YouTube? I don't know. But so like the thing about like Adachi, right? and then my character personally doesn't struggle with because she has a bunch of anti-zoning tools. Because I have evil, I have big normals. Adachi does have a big normal. He has 5C, right?
Uh-huh.
But
Dude, I gotta tell you, so one of the most crazy VODs I've ever watched, I can't seem to find it right now, but I remember I watched Pashiri fight Megaki, his Yukari, and I would watch him down back for the entire round, multiple games in a row. He would sit there and down back the entire time. Like she would be sit there zoning, he wouldn't press anything. He would just sit there. And it was like, it kind of resonated with me. I'm like, sometimes I'm fighting like characters like Yukari is like, what do I do besides just sit here and wait for?
You don't really have anything to like contest her when she's doing something.
Nothing that's.
Right?
I watched Pashiri get Persona broken from 4 to 0 cards in like 6 seconds.
Oh my god.
Because he's just sitting there. He's like, I'm just gonna gamble. I'm just gonna throw 2D. I'm just gonna throw 5D. I hope it comes out. Like that's really what it's like fighting characters like Naoto and Yukari because he has no way. Go ahead.
Even like Yukiko too, right?
Right. Yukiko's pretty frustrating because like he just needs to wait for the right moment to do something. Anything. Because he like with JC's a great big button to hit somebody out of the air with. But its hitbox is not great at covering zoners because they're usually above you. You want to be above them, but if they throw a projectile in front of them, it's going to hit you. And even if they don't get something off of it, it's going to deny you the chance to even get in the first place. And I want to answer Lockhart's questions because he asked it a while ago. What's my favorite matchup? I actually think it's Shavris. Just because I actually feel in control in that matchup. Like, I'm actually able to play. But it feels like, you know, Shavris got her shit that she can do, and then Adachi can kill her 2 hits. It feels like I'm the one that gets to be broken for once. But, yeah, I think any character that can kind of box Adachi out. Like, I think... Like, even, I've seen some JP, I've seen, like, Adachi and JP, like, they put Risei in a really easy category. I actually struggle with Risei sometimes, number one, because her JB is really active. It's hard to trade, or hard to beat it sometimes at JC, because it's so active, it hits JC when it becomes active. And, she can kind of play lame and kind of just wait. Because like Adachi's the worst fly swatter. He really is. Like against characters that can like put shit on the screen, he's kind of just destined to block. Like he's not putting anything on the screen that's going to become enough of a threat for you to basically shut the fuck up.
Yeah, because like pretty much his like his dangerous range, right? It's the range he wants to be in. It's close range, right?
Right. Yes.
And close, and sometimes mid range, but kind of like grounded mid range.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Because he's not going to hit you in the air mid range at all. And
unless he uses like 2C, but you know what happens when you just throw out 2C. Just like it doesn't end well. Like it has a lot of recovery, and like if you don't hit it, like it's very bad.
So when you don't have many tools to like, she doesn't have any anti-zoning tools, right? Because they already mentioned 5D. All of his D buttons are really slow. 2D tracks, but by the time 2D is coming down, the zoner is already probably moving away from you or moving.
And I don't know, and I don't know if people have seen the Igus clip. Might be, you know the Igus clip I'm talking about, where she 2Bs and persona card gets broken at the top of the screen, like before it even comes out. Like it's hard because like the tracking like isn't super great, And like you're just throwing persona cards out. Like I will actually, when I get down to one persona card, same like 50% health on one persona card, I will try to get my persona broken on purpose just to have 4 persona cards again for Mandala. But that's like a whole nother like game you got to play on top of everything else. Like you're trying to survive without a persona, try not to get hit so that you can self-awaken well. Like I think it's tough, and especially with Adachi's defense, like he's relying a lot on guard cancel sometimes. And he needs that meter so badly. And he's not like when you take Liz, for example, like when she throws out 2B OMC JA, like if I had to compare it, be like Adachi's like he's working like a part-time job to get that money, to get that meter. Like he's slaving away trying to get this meter. And Liz just got mommy and daddy. Like they're just giving her meter, like just for existing. And she can just put herself in awakening whenever she feels like it. Like Adachi, like he's gonna work for that awakening. He's gonna work for it, and then he just might die and is trying to. He gets in a car accident on the way home. Like he's struggling out here to like have meter to do anything.
He's really a slave to capitalism, bro. Holy.
Like, ironically, his playstyle reflects it. Like he needs meter so badly, but he needs meter so badly. Like he needs it for everything, just to exist. Like I hate people who play lame, but I have to play lame sometimes just to survive, because like unless I'm hitting you, I'm in a bad position. Like if you're not JC range away from me and it's not my turn, like I'm in a really bad spot. Like I don't want to block. Go ahead.
You also mentioned like persona breaking yourself a little bit ago, right?
Uh-huh.
And if I'm correct, right, I think this happened multiple times. If you have your buffs, right, and you get persona broken, don't you like lose all of your buffs as well?
Correct.
So like even if you're playing that one card game and you have like a buff or two, like just even playing that is really dangerous.
Exactly, yes. Like I have to play around like people burst. Like if my opponent has burst, I have 2 buffs and I have 1 persona card. I am praying to God, and here I'm outing myself again. I'm praying to God that you are not smart enough to burst when my persona comes out. Like that's like every smart player I've noticed will just burst the combo that I get them into when my persona is gonna be out. And like that's what I have to worry. Like when a player bursts my combo when I have 1 persona card, I kind of and I like they didn't burst it on a persona hit, I smile. Like that's exactly what I wanted. Like you don't have a burst, I can just not use my persona now, and I can kind of fish for the hit I need. And like, yeah.
See, and now you like when they do burst that, right? Let's say you do get your persona cards back, and let's say you still have a good chunk of awakening left, right? Even with all of that, you're back to square one.
Exactly.
You just lost your house.
Lost everything. Gotta build back with 20% health. Like you're one touch and you gotta build back. That is the struggle. That is the constant struggle with this character, where you're just constantly working at a deficit, because like the only thing you ever win is neutral, because JC is such a good button. Like if you play Adachi correctly, you're winning a neutral. Otherwise, you're kind of on par with most, if not less, of most of the cast, because you're playing with I don't know. I think Adachi's DP is just fucking god awful. I think it sucks so fucking bad. Like, I hate that I can cancel into DP on reaction to guard cancel. I reacted to guard cancel mid pressure and DP'd, and it clashes with guard cancel.
What?
That's fucked up. That is fucked up. Like, why is that a thing? I don't get it. But like, it always feels like Adachi is struggling so hard to open his opponent up just to do 1500 damage. Just to do like his combo routes are just so fucking restricted. It's frustrating. Like, when you get the good combo, like, it's great. I drop it a lot, but I don't know. I think a lot of characters are a lot better at getting their good combos off. Even some of the mid tiers. And Minazuki, he's getting 5k meterless for doing nothing. Just because there's so many moves that he can incorporate into his combos. Like, Adachi has like lane cancel, 5C, instant air dash, JB, 5C, like he can't do like tackle mid combo and like go into a whole nother part of the combo or gunshot. Like, he doesn't have combo routes like that.
So,
Well, even with all that, right? It's rough. Yeah, I'll start with it's rough. But when he does fulfill that condition of Mandala, man. Well,
Adachi, when I'm like balling, when I'm like on my baller, when I'm on my gangster shit with Adachi, I self-awakened. I have 50% HP in Awakening with Mandala, and I set up 5D, and I kind of just stall to get my blue health back, and I got Heat Riser. We're gaming. We're gaming so hard, but it's just against some of these characters. It's so difficult to be gaming all the time. You're just constantly struggling, like against, like, okay, Ken, I feel pretty in control because I'm hitting the dog. Like, at least I have something to be in control of, which is like, you gotta worry about your dog. JC is so good at hitting the dog. And 5C, 5B, they're all really good at like dealing with the dog. It's just the mix and playing defense against Ken. I guess you're fucked. Naoto, Yukari, you're just fucked. Like, you're just like, Naoto has DP. Like, okay, you have what anti-zoning tools? And they're how useless against Naoto because she'll just fucking DP it. The most reactable moves in the game, she'll just DP it. Like, it's
so what I'm getting at is like going back to the tournament aspect, right? There's gonna be characters that are gonna kind of booty tickle Adachi in bracket, like as you said, like Aegis, Yukari, like especially since that's been
the
popping up
odds
more.
of beating the odds of beating the character are not in your favor. Even like mid-level players, like, because okay, when you think of a matchup, right, you're thinking about how well can this character fuck on somebody's autopilot? Because if a player can just autopilot and win, then you're fucked. And I think that's what characters like, I guess, Shadow Naoto, specifically Shadow Naoto, and Yukari can do, is they can kind of autopilot and they can win.
For sure.
Because their autopilot's so hard to, you can't break up the autopilot. And like for example, like Yukari's autopilot is JB. JB. What is Adachi gonna do about that?
I love mid. I love blocking.
Exactly.
I love blocking.
You're gonna down back for 60 seconds, just to get Yukari into Awakening so she can burst Magarula. And now you're sitting there fucking trying to deal with that while every time Yukari whiffs a DP, she gets out. Like, and her JA, like, listen.
I'm listening. I'm all ears.
I gotta use the bathroom again. So why don't you just? Yeah.
Bro, are you drinking with this, bro? Because that'd be the funniest shit ever, bro. Because I feel like the meme is like he's at the top of the bottle. Like, Adachi cool, and then we're getting to like the middle of the bottle, be like, man, fuck these top tiers, and then we're getting to the bottom of the fucking bottle where it's like, I hate this game, bro. The alcohol bottle, holy, bro.
Yeah. Bro.
The further down we get the alcohol bottle, like the more hatred it gets. On Adachi too, crazy.
Hey, that's just life of Adachi, bro. That's why he's in Inaba.
That's funny as shit. So, Adachi, as I said before, he's gonna struggle with the top tiers. So, I mean, he's not a bad tournament character per se, but when you're gonna run into those characters that he really struggles with, you're fighting an uphill battle, and it's very difficult to overcome that kind of deficit in a way. Just because they can kind of autopilot they can, like, their level 1 autopilot can beat your level 3 kind of ideas, you know? And it becomes really difficult for Adachi to overcome that.
I think, I'm about to answer this question from that, but that's about to answer some of it. What are Adachi's main weaknesses to the version? What he's lacking compared to the rest of the cast? I think Jonah answered some of it. Bad defense, meter dependency, and lack of mix. So,
yeah,
like, bad defense, like, he has no... So, what bad defense means, there's no mash buttons. There's no mash buttons you're really using as Adachi, right? Your DP is one of the slowest strike DP in the game, next to Labris. You have pretty much no reversal supers either, right? So when you're on defense, you kind of have to pray the opponent, like, fucks up. And bam, maybe you can get a DP off.
Dude, they took away the fucking Atom Smasher, bro. Like it's like the IRS, bro. Taking your funds, bro.
Taxes. Let me take all of that for your rage resets. Let me take
that's what I'm
literally
saying.
everything.
Like, okay, even if I didn't get JC Slide back, I think just against the characters I mentioned, just having SB Atom Smasher in its previous state and be able to hit that, like, even if you got a block for fucking half the game,
I think
to get that meter, like, just being able to use it and then set up 5D would be better than anything else we could get.
there was 2 issues I had with it in 1.1, right? Because I forgot it's like 6 or 7 frames, yeah, around that ballpark, right? It's like it was either nerf the damage from it or nerf the startup.
The speed.
Yeah. Because, like, you're gonna get countered from that. You press a button in neutral, SB Atom Smasher, alright, go fuck yourself. You're getting a combo off that, it's for like 4K
Right.
almost.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, it is 6 frames, that's fucked up. Holy. Yeah, it's like 5 before the flash and then 1 frame after that, right?
With
So
the
it's like-
one frame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After flash.
You can't roll it, you can't roll it.
Crazy. You can't do anything against it. You had to deal, you got hit or you blocked it. There were no, unless you read it and like did a reversal
Backdash.
super.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But like, you couldn't deal with it like that. Not like he is now. Like,
Oh, I'm just gonna
Atom
roll it,
Smasher,
herder.
right now, Atom Smasher's like, the only way I
Messy guessies,
successfully
bro.
use it, right? You're just guessing. You're kind of just throwing it out and or you're reacting to something like a super flash, or but like currently, like, okay, I kind of want to bridge into how communicating with Japan developed Adachi, because
Yeah, we can start talking about that in Nekose further down. Yeah,
right.
Let's get into that.
I think, okay, so Nekose, I think Nekose and Pashiri are the strongest Adachi players right now.
Let me grab
by
some
far.
Nekose.
And I think Nekose is really good at just pressing the right. I think he's just nice.
I think
Like
the biggest thing about Nekose, especially from playing him, because I even played him earlier, he is very fundamentally good. Fundamentally, he is great.
he is just nice, fucking nice. Like he just like in the same vein as like imagine if Kanji, you got a Kanji player at their max strength, and they were just nice. Like Adachi's just strong enough that when he's just nice, he can deal with a lot of shit. Like Nekose has so much knowledge and like he just knows when to press buttons. He just knows like I can't play like him. Like I have Nekose's playstyle, and to clear the air, I didn't steal his color. I've been using that color since day one, baby. But I play a lot like when I found out about him, I think it was Hales that actually linked me his stream because I didn't know him about him prior to that. And this was still delay based, but I started stealing a lot of his tech and like 5D Oki, SB Heat Riser 5D Oki or JD, I guess, because it's an air backdash JD. I stole that. And a lot of American Adachis, or European too, I guess, adopted it from me, from stealing it from Nekose. I think, like, and communication can be hard because even Deep L struggles sometimes. But I've learned a lot from just watching his footage and incorporating some of his tech. And I think he's played for so long that he just knows he knows exactly what he needs to do. Like I would need to play for years to get to his level, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, this is comparing someone who's like had years of experience in the arcades playing against all the top players. Like after work, you go to work, you finish your job, you're coming to arcades and you see fucking Taichi Yamashita on the fucking sticks, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm just trying to relax, bro. I just came from work. What the hell is this?
Right.
I feel like once you're in that kind of arcade setting, you gotta become good at some point.
Right.
I'm wasting my money on this booty game.
Yeah, the way it works is
win or
they force you to play against the good players, right? Because they have it based on the levels. I remember Gaimon saying, like, if you're too good, they kick you off the floor and they put you on another one, bro, where the better players are. I'm dead ass, bro. So you don't body like the noobs, and like they don't want to play anymore because they're gonna lose. The arcade's gonna lose money.
Right.
Oh, that's crazy, dog.
Like if you're good, you're gonna go fight these players, bro.
Right. I think at Nekose, he's just one of those players who played Adachi since the beginning. And he got really good at fighting these characters that are difficult to fight. Cause like, I don't know, I come home from a 12-hour shift, and say I hop on a cab with a Yukari player, I'm not gonna be as patient as I normally would be. Like, I think it's an art to be able to kind of deal with these characters on a consistent basis. Because like some days I'll deal with Yukari or like these characters, some characters like differently than others. Because like the mental stack from like playing that patiently, because you have to play that patiently against them.
Yeah, for sure.
With Adachi, because you can't. There's no get out of jail free card, as much as other characters might have. With their like Abare options or their DP options or whatever, like if you were to compare Adachi to Aegis with her like reversal options, it's ridiculous. Like Aegis whiffs her DP. That's the only time she's unsafe. Like if she hits it at all, if it makes contact with anybody, like a persona or a character or anything, and she has 50 meter, she's pretty safe like half the time. More than half. And like I don't know. I think Adachi can be difficult to perform with consistently.
I
Not
can
in
I
the
can see that.
same
Yeah.
not in the same vein as like Kanji. Like I don't think Adachi's bottom 3 by any stretch of the imagination. But I think Adachi's like damage, which I think is the most important aspect of this game. Like being able to do damage in so many scenarios is the most important thing in this game. And I think Adachi struggles with it the most. Like his damage outside of Awakening with Mandala, like meterless, is like rivals, like or not rivals, but like matches Brise. Like even Kanji does better meterless damage than Adachi does, off like the good confirms. Um, but like I said before, like his problem is getting into Awakening to do the broken damage. That's when he gets the broken damage that a lot of characters in this game get. Is when he's in Awakening with Mandala, he just doesn't often get to do that. Which is where I think he struggles the most in this version of the game.
Would you say like Nekaze, Pashir, even other Japanese Adachi players like Pet, kind of like how do they influence you? I know you mentioned before with JD Oki, right? Like how do you think they influence you or develop this character or help you understand it?
Um, I would say like I'm a text. I don't like the lab. There's something about me. I don't like the lab. I come home. I want to play. So it's like they kind of do some of the labbing for me. They kind of like I'll see something and I'll be like, oh, like Adachi against himself, for example. Like you cannot wake up DP against yourself because you can hit stop OS so easily with JB, and it's like that made me think about a lot of things and like just how I think Adachi's tools are good, but I think they have to be used so correctly that they're not standing out. Like when you think about broken buttons, you don't think about Adachi 5C, but Adachi 5C is good. Like that's not your go-to, right? Like, oh, this character's buttons are broken. Or these buttons specifically are broken. Like you think of like kid, I guess JA is 6 frames. Like I guess 5A is 5 frames. Narcotic 5A is 5 frames. Like all these buttons have properties that make you think about them from a global standpoint. And Adachi's 5C is one of those buttons that like you don't think about it like, oh, what are the most broken buttons in the game? Adachi 5C. No, you think about like, well, when we're talking about Adachi, 5C stands out. It does what it does very well. But on a global standpoint, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not like thinking like Adachi 5C. Like, it's not in my nightmares. Like, I guess JC is. Like, I guess JC is what, 9 frames? Very good button.
8 frames.
8 frames! 8 frames. And Shadow, I don't understand why more people don't play Shadow. But Shadow, I guess with its 8 frame JC startup on Orgia backdash or Orgia air roll mix up, and you do 6K. Like, I'm not afraid of that. Like, I'm afraid of that a lot more than I am like Adachi JC. Like, I get more chances, you know.
Yeah, like a lot of these characters have more conversions or more things they can do off of those buttons, while Adachi doesn't really have that.
Right. And to answer, okay, there's a couple questions. Does he deal with the dog better with JC? Yes, because you can kind of stay out of range of the dog and just hit him. Like, I think, like, I do enjoy the Ken matchup to that extent where I can just kind of bully the dog. I'm allowed to do that. Like, I can air turn JC. Like, Ken's gotta do something with the dog to avoid me fucking it up. That's why, out of like the worst matchups he has, I think Ken is more fun to play because I can kind of mess with him a little bit more than like Yosuke, more than like Mitsuru. Like,
You can
he's
interact
gotta,
more.
yeah, I can interact a little bit more with the dog because like he's gotta find a way to not autopilot it. Like we talked about earlier with autopilot, Ken cannot autopilot the dog against me. He has to do something with it. So I think Ken can pressure Adachi pretty easily as everyone else if he sticks. What were you saying earlier with Bashiri doing the microdash DP? What interaction is that on specifically?
Anytime I commit to a gap with sweep or pull in, if I do excuse me, if I do a normal string, if you don't IB and you just mash DP, the DP is gonna whiff. But what Bashiri does is he specifically tries to IB like the 2B or the 5B. So that if I do commit to the gap, he does microdash DP and it counter hits me instead of whiffing.
Right. So I think at a high level, Ken can be dealt with. But I think some Kens at a lower level are not going to know how to deal with Adachi DP as much. I think, yeah, he definitely is neutral. And I think he still struggles on defense. It's just like a couple scenarios where Ken's going to have the upper hand. But I do think out of every character that's like on his bad side of matchups, he's gonna deal with Ken a little bit better. I think Mitsuru comes in second. I guess is difficult because she auto blocks like DP attempts pretty much. Yukari obviously is a tough one. Naoto I think is third. But in general, just having a slow DP is rough.
Yeah, definitely. It's the matchup. Ken cannot really autopilot that kind of thing, right? Because as you said before, what really destroys Adachi is when the basic level 1 of that character can beat Adachi's like level 3 game plan here.
Right.
Ken, it's like
Exactly.
it's like I can't autopilot, but I can still apply like other levels of game plan to overwhelm Adachi, but not impossible for Adachi in that matchup.
Adachi needs to snowball to
Yeah.
succeed.
That's
my
that's
opinion.
everyone in Persona.
Yeah, but I think some characters do it a little bit easier. Like Liz,
Oh, yeah.
for example. Liz kind of puts you into a scenario where, because like she applies fear seamlessly, like a lot easier than like Adachi can't apply fear off every scenario. Liz just uses 2B, 2C. So like now you're like if she applies fear and then grabs you, like you could take 7K if she mind charges. So
All right. We don't want to go on for too long, but you guys want to talk about Nekose now? Discuss a little about Nekose's performance, how he might do, because we do know his Kumite is tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure. I think. Yeah, it's tomorrow night. And then there's probably a likely chance that he will be coming to Frosty Fausting 16 to participate in Persona.
He's gonna take our money.
I know.
he's just that nice. I'm afraid. Like
Let's look at his.
trying to emulate him. Okay, like as an Adachi player, trying to emulate him is difficult. Cause like he knows how to.
It's fundamentals. He
Yeah.
just knows. He has the knowledge from years of playing.
Right. Like, I remember asking him for Sheeta advice when I was doing the first to 10. And he was just like, oh yeah, just OS, the OMC mix. Like, dude, that's... Like, you have to IB a certain part of it, and, like, you have to hop at a certain time. Like, it's hard, and, like... I think he's just that good. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, he's just that good at playing Adachi. Like, this is one of those scenarios. And I think, like, when you think of, like, a weak character, like Kanji, maybe, like, somebody just being that good, I think Adachi is just good enough that when he's just that good, that he can perform that well. And I think the scales would still be tilted in his against him in like certain matchups. But I think he's just good enough that he would still succeed.
Right, like he definitely has all the tools he needs to succeed. Everything he needs.
Like he knows exactly when to DP, he knows exactly when to mash, he knows like all these things that I sort of ignore sometimes when I play because I'm not all there. Like
Nekose's like mentally checked in.
he's checked into Adachi like 100% of the time, it feels like. Like I've seen him be a little mentally checked out a couple times. But he's just not like that all the time. Like he's good enough that he doesn't even have to be all there to do exactly what he needs to do. And I think the biggest threat there is Sheeta if he comes. Like I think he's strong enough to beat just about anybody in America. 100%. Just as a player. Like if it was Pashiri, it'd be a little bit of a different story, but Nekose by himself can definitely take on America on his own.
Yeah, especially since like he doesn't play. I mean, sometimes you see Sheeta, but not everybody plays against him. Same with Nekose, right? Magaki is very open to playing with a bunch of overseas players, so everyone has a lot of experience with Yukari. And then Dachi, Minazuki especially, not many people have experience with that high level of these characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So expecting Nekose in Grand Finals is very likely unless we see an upset very early on. Because we have people like you, MBM, Adarax, T-Lock, Chris going, Weretear, Joey, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You guys probably won't be able to like match up into each other until like top 16 most likely.
Well, if you watch the mirror I did with him a while ago, in a longer set, when we become familiar with each other's offensive patterns, it becomes a DP game. We're just beaking out of everything. But like in a shorter set, I think he's gonna be a lot harder to predict.
Oh, for sure.
Because he does a lot of really niche things that Adachi doesn't do very often, I guess. You could say. He has a lot of, like, in terms of his pressure game, like, he doesn't have a whole lot of options, but I think Nekoze knows how to utilize it. Like, he's fundamentally strong, so he can take note of somebody's defensive habits to kind of take advantage of that a lot better. But he has to make better reads than some characters.
For sure. I was trying to think, like, what would we need to do to, like, overcome it, right? We need to pull out the Yukari, Shadownatos, and Aegises, bro.
Yeah.
Those people gotta step up.
Basically. I think those are your best bet. Because, like, okay, Nekoze made a matchup chart that I don't share because he told me not to. But I will tell you that the top 2 spots that were basically in hell were Yukari and Aegis. He's got some kind of probably like grasp on Shadow Naruto some way from
Special
fighting Waka for
Yep.
so many years. But even through all of these years of experience, he still thinks Aegis and Yukari are the worst 2. And I'd have to agree with him. Because no matter how much patience you have, their tools are just that much better.
Next thumbnail is gonna be like, is America fucked? Because Hero's not coming to Frosty. I'm pretty sure the only card that we know is going to Frosty is Stunlunk, right?
Yeah.
So, ha ha ha. Alright, don't worry. Stunlunk got this.
Time to train up. All right.
Listen, if I were to say Nekoze and Shito were coming, both of them, they're gonna be grand finals. Number 1 and 2. I think their character has very little to do with their performance.
Yeah, literally.
Like, they just know. I think they're on a different level.
Wait, Gold, did you plug the fundraisers for both of them, actually?
Oh, I forgot to put one of them in the description. I'll put it in. I'll grab it in chat. Give me 1 second. I'll put the tweet. But yeah, people are interested in this. The Nekoze Kumite is tomorrow on PlayStation. You can donate to the fund from, where is it? The Twitter post. All the information should be in here. Let me just grab it. Alright. There it is. I'll put it in the description after this is over as well. So, there's the link for that. Definitely going to be something fun to watch. Most likely it will be happening that we will get the funds to send him over here. I think, yeah, since we're not having, like, no Aegises or on the same level like Yukari, defeating Nekoze is going to be, you know, difficult, and it's really just going to be, I feel like we do have some players in the region that can definitely take him on, though.
I agree. Know.
We'll see.
Because I think those are the only 2. Aegis and Yukari are the only 2 matchups that stand out. Like, they are very hard to deal with. Every other matchup is like how good are you? How well can you react? And I think Nekoze is one of those players that can just do that. So I'd say he's a player that anybody going to Frosty has to worry about.
For sure, for sure. See if there's any other topics that we can discuss. Let me see. We had
So in terms of a tier list, where do I put him on a tier list? Smack dab in the middle.
is Adachi overrated?
I think he is. By some players. I think some players put him at... They get tilted by him. Because of what he... Like, he's just like that character, right? Like, you want to hate him. Like, he's annoying. His voice lines are taunting. Like, you have every reason to hate Adachi, but at the end of the day, I think he's just, like I said earlier, he's the king of mid.
Yes, sir.
He's the king of being mid.
I love mid.
I love mid. I love mid.
I love mid.
Like when you think of other characters that are described as mid tier, like NBM, Liz.
Okay.
Let's talk about Liz for a second.
Hold on.
I don't know if Liz is. I'm gonna be real. I don't know if Liz is like.
Liz,
I don't think she's mid tier, bro. I'm gonna be real.
Liz kills you in 2 hits.
I think she's high tier just for that reason.
Liz gives herself the resources to kill you.
You got the mommy and
She
daddy
just gives
college
them
fund, bro.
herself. Exactly. She has the college fund. Like, she just gets it. Like, Adachi doesn't do the same thing. And I like,
didn't Adachi go to college though?
that's the sad part. He went to college for what? For what?
Now he's a cop in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
With no mix.
Oh,
Like,
he's
no
in jail
corn
actually.
mix.
Damn. No mix.
Like some of these characters described as mid tier, I think, have ways to flush out a tight situation. Almost every character.
I agree with
okay,
that. Yeah.
Adachi's damage rivals Risei in terms of how bad it is. Meterless damage, like, it's bad. But like every other character, like even Risei, has some weird, crazy mix-up that you couldn't possibly block 100% of the time, consistently, all the time. Like, you were just gonna get hit by it sometimes. Adachi doesn't have that. So if we're talking about tournament viability, I think a very strong thing in tournaments is like just being able to bullshit your opponent into getting hit very easily.
Dollar Store Minazuki.
Exactly. Every character has some way of making you make a decision somehow. Like, you gotta do something or you're gonna fucking get hit and you're gonna lose that last 10% of health you had when you had no meter to spend to guard cancel. Adachi doesn't have that at all. Like, I guess even Kanji, if you were to mash command grab super and block stun while your opponent had 50% health, your opponent died.
Mm-hmm.
Adachi doesn't even have really something like that.
He doesn't have like the burst of damage.
He doesn't really just have a way to fuck you over really fast. He has to apply that first with Mandala, and then he has to hit you with something cheeky. But other than that, I think his potency as just fucking you over, which I think is Persona's like trademark. I think in the current meta, he struggles to do that. But he has really strong tools. I think he's in a very confusing position as a character.
I get what you mean though, because like the way I kind of divide up between like the top four, whatever, or whatever you want to call them, just the top dogs and top tiers, high tiers, mid tiers, low tiers, whatever. Like the way I define like the mid tiers is that like they still had some robbery potential, right? But it was more so they kind of lost. They had like a bunch of like mixed bag of matchups within their own tier, and they were held back by like a notable flaw, which put them in that tier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I put like Adachi, when I thought Adachi was like high tier, right? It was mainly because like even though he had like these notable flaws, right? He still had some. I felt like he won against most like the mid tiers, right? So I'm looking at like, while we're looking at the mid tiers, I'm looking at like Adachi, Chie, Labras, Rise, Akihiko, like those type of characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they do.
And I think so. Okay, so I remember something T-Lock said. Adachi has a similar game plan to Mitsuru, which is true. The only difference is Mitsuru has an instant overhead that she can use. But they're both mid monsters that want to open you up. The only difference is Mitsuru has reward. Has immense reward off opening you up. Specifically Shadow Mitsuru. Like normal Mitsuru, I'm not super scared of when I'm fighting her. Like when I'm fighting Hidaka, the whole time I'm wondering, why are you playing normal Mitsuru? That's the only thing going through my head. Like, I'm not super scared of Mitsuru herself. I'm scared of just getting opened up and like being kind of like Mitsuru kind of puts you in a box because of her 5A range specifically, and the reward that Shadow Mitsuru gets off. Hold on, I gotta use the bathroom again.
Oh my. Bro, the more we get down the alcohol is insane.
Well, we haven't gotten the game as bad yet. Hey, that's good.
That's good.
But I think now that I think about it, let's see. Look at the characters on this list, dog.
Because
I don't really
like,
see many of these matchups that Adachi really super hard wins. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's like my thought process behind it. He's like, I at the time thought he was like consistent, has some robbery potential, right? Like even though he got like he lost the tools from 1.1, he was still somewhat volatile if like you eat like a Persona normal or like a reset, or he's got like the buffs on him, right? And I kind of view it as like, you know, he's high tier, he's gonna get shit on by the top tiers, but he kind of shits on the mid tiers, you know? That's my thought process to it.
Nope. It's kind of weird because like even I remember talking to like I think it was Stacks a while back. Or Stacks recently. And he was talking about how let's see, I think it was Adachi kind of even struggles with Akihiko pressure. Like think of how fast Akihiko pressure is, right? 5A 2A, 5A 2A, 5A 2A, right?
Can't even DP it as well.
Can't DP it, can't jump out, can't do anything, can't mash. What is he going to do? Like, that's just some situations that I even remember. Like Jordan talked about how at Frosty's, what is Adachi, for example, doing against Narukami pressure? I think I remember like Grover told Jordan that the one thing Adachi can do during Narukami pressure is instant block grab.
No, so this was about Chie. He was playing Shadow Chie.
Oh, Shadow Chie, my bad, my fault.
We were playing casuals, and I remember after the tournament, I asked him, "So you're doing 5A stagger? What is the best answer?" And he told me to IB throw. It's his fastest move. 5 frames. Grab is his fastest move. So it's like, There's obvious downsides to
He's
using
broken.
a grab. It's rough, and because like Narukami Stagger rivals, it's not as good as Chie's, but it rivals it. It's like on par, and it's like it's not that you can't. Like you can always DP at the right time, but it's just like as long as you're doing it at the right time, and against better players, it's harder because they just know like Adachi's pressure structure. They know when to kind of like I feel the more people learn about Adachi, the easier he is to fight. And I think that goes for every character, but like against Adachi especially because he can be a little linear.
Yeah,
in
because
the
all the
way
scrubby
he
stuff
functions.
that he gets away with, you just learn what he does. It's like, oh, okay, it's not that bad.
Exactly. Especially, oh my god, I have to tell this story about when I was at CEO Taku this year. I'd fight Hero a lot. I don't know how many times he would say, "Oh, I'm dead." When I would do like DP B Heat Riser corner switch, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm dead." Bro, he'd be like 40-50% health. I'm like, dude, that's like 2.2k
Okay,
if
to
I'm
be fair,
lucky.
he also did that when I hit him with Marie 5A.
No, but he was like, "Why
At
didn't you
least
OMB?"
5-8
I'm like,
broken,
dude.
bro.
He was like, "Why didn't you OMB?" I'm like, "What?" So okay, so I do DP, Heat Riser, corner switch with B stance, and I do OMB. What's the proration like on that combo?
Yeah, the proration's already got
The
cracked out on the
proration is
DP.
fucked up. It's done. I can't OMB. I can't add any extra damage to this combo. And I think there's a lot of misconception about how Adachi works in general. Like that causes people to have these sort of reactions. Like he really doesn't do. He isn't capable of doing massive damage on even on a good starter. Like he does 2B counter hit. That is the same as doing 2B fatal. They're like the same combo.
How much damage is he getting?
You're not
3K?
3.4
Oh.
on either
Whoa.
starter.
Whoa.
Oh.
And
Oh,
the
I
fear.
get that meterless. Oh, okay.
Like 3k, like he's getting 3k if he chooses to do fear instead. So like your biggest issue that you're dealing with is fear. Because it allows him to inflict fear again. But if he doesn't inflict fear, then you're just playing normal RPS. It's like you're just reacting to command grab. Because he's just dispensing mids the whole time. And yeah.
The thing is, like, a lot of people just think he does. Yeah, as you said, I think a lot of people just think that Adachi does like a lot more damage than he actually does.
Dude, I'm like conditioned from like 1.1. That's why.
Like, and I think so many people are like, man, DP Heat Riser is so crazy. I'm gonna take like 4K from DP Heat Riser, but it's not. It's not really like that.
His
You know,
VP
it's not
pull
really.
rate's so bad.
Like people see the combo, DP Heat Riser, and they're like, and in their minds they're like, oh my goodness, I'm being hit. He did a super. I'm dead.
Right. I think it's like the same thing with like kanji. Like I see people burst certain kanji combos, and I even do it when I'm like kind of being impatient. But like kanji hitting like 5A counter hit or like sweet, like I'm not worried about the day. I'm like just sitting there thinking like I'm getting awakening. Like I don't care that I'm getting hit. Like it's kind of whatever. But like Adachi outside of awakening, I'm almost never threatened by him. Like I'm not worried about him. Kind of like normal Yosuke. Kind of like a lot of the weaker characters. Like he's just not a threat unless he gets like full health awakening with Heat Riser with 2+ persona cards. Like we're meeting very specific conditions for me to be afraid of Adachi. At least in the mirror. I can't speak for other characters that have better tools, but That's just my perspective.
I just saw Claude post the image of the bottle, bro.
The what?
Where you're drinking the alcohol, you're getting to the top of the bottle, it's like Adachi's so cool. We're getting to the middle of it, it's like, man, fuck the top tiers, fuck Yukari. And then we're getting at the bottom of the bottle, it's like, I hate this game, fuck this game.
Oh my god, it's peak. And I'm literally drinking that exact bottle right now, by the way. I can't believe this.
I should have pulled out my alcohol, bro. What the hell?
I have that exact bottle in my hand right now.
Holy, bro. You didn't ask you or nothing, bro. That's crazy.
Man.
So, any other questions?
Yeah, now would be the time for anyone to ask any questions in chat. We have gone over all the topics that we wanted to discuss. If you missed any, then I'm sorry. Go watch the VOD. But yeah, if y'all got any questions, put it in chat. We can discuss a little bit about it. And then we'll just call it here from there.
Question for okay. Well,
Long term, do I love you? Yeah, I love you. Of course. I feel like people overestimate Adachi damage outside of Awakening and underestimate it. Yeah, I agree, because I think once Adachi hits you... Okay, if Adachi has Mandala and he hits you with 75 meter, he just puts you into a B&V, you die like he's a shadow. Because poison plus Ghastly Whale plus fear, which raises Ghastly Whale's damage, it's like getting shadow comboed. Like, it's really fucking good. That's why shadows shut Adachi down so fucking hard, because he's not getting Awakening. He's not getting Mandala. He's not getting a chance to do a B&B on you, period. Like, he just doesn't get that. Potent Adachi. I've thought about Adachi. I don't really know. Like
A Shadow Junpei case where he just gets immediately Mandala.
Exactly.
D-Riser.
Literally, round start 5A, like round start 5C, Shadow Frenzy, DP, B Mandala. And then I just have Mandala. That's what Adachi would be like. When is it okay to use Esme Mandala? If you do like a high proration combo and you still want to safe jump, like say you have 125 meter and they're like 40% health, even if they're an Awakening, like if you apply Mandala and you get a good hit and you do Heat Riser, like your next combo is gonna kill. So like you might as well do it for the safe jump, just to be safe, especially against certain characters like Ken and like Mitsuru. I might as well get the safe jump. Would you get more routes? Yeah. Because you could do like sliding counter hit JC, 2A, 5C into like lane cancel stuff. I think that would work. You could probably even do it 1.1. How good is it to delay tech or no tech Adachi? Really, I think denying Adachi a meaty or a safe jump is just good in general. Because he doesn't really have any scary mix like I don't know, like instant overhead on like Sho or Minazuki or anything like that. Like it's pretty good to delay, like just throw him off like that.
Bro, what the hell is that weird tear question, bro?
How's the Shadow Junpei matchup? Well,
I like how you ignored the first half, bro.
yeah, so and Shadow Junpei, as long as you win neutral, like if I get touched by Shadow Junpei, I'm just gonna burst. So no victory cry for you. If you get victory cry, then it comes down to whether you hit me or not. So it's like he has an advantage inherently because his neutrals is better. You just want to not get touched. And his mix isn't like I'm not good at reacting to slide though.
Broken.
Delay tech against Adachi is good if he
Listen,
fights you
bro.
full.
It's all over when Big Pat
Yeah.
hits the SB slide on Nekose and hits with the 7K frenzy route, bro.
Who's your worst matchup? Ikari. Unfortunately. I can't.
I'm sorry.
I can't. Okay, wait. Weirchair's cooking something. Who's the most fun to fight? Like Narukami or Shadow Labras?
Wait, what the? You already asked this
Chungus.
question.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Chungus? Basically Chungus, yeah.
All right. Any
What's
last
Chunging?
questions before we end the stream? You fucking. We're skill from Fort Boxing to Chungus maxing. How's the Shadow Junpei map? What the hell, bro?
Like, all I'm gonna say is Dachi DP is reactable, so if you
Yeah.
got hit, that's your fault.
So true.
All right. I think that we got one more question. All right, this will be the last question. Pretty sure you might have already covered that, Jordan. If you want to explain it, why Shadow Labras
Why
fun
is
to play
Shadow's
against?
fun to play against? Because I get to fuck her up. I
There you
get
have
to
it, folks.
fucking kill an annoying ass character. She gets to die against me. Not as much as other characters, but Shadow Labras dies. Because she has like what, 3,200 awakening health? Yeah, you die in like one average B&B, so get fucked. Yosuke versus Adachi matchup, it sucks dick. I hate that matchup. That matchup's so annoying to play. So there's your answer. If anybody wants to know, that matchup sucks. I can't hit Yosuke. Defense sucks because the stagger's so good. Yosuke DP's broken, so there you go.
All right, everyone. There you have it. Inside report from the Jordan, the Adachi player from America. But
Woohoo!
that's all we got for today,
Alright.
folks. I hope you all enjoyed. We're going alphabetically on this list, so we're literally just going down from the character channels. So next time we see this, we're gonna be talking about Igus, and
Oh my
yeah,
God.
you probably guessed who we're probably gonna bring on. Yeah, but yeah. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Later.